Hey guys, Moneyman300 back for part 2 of how we upload things to YouTube and how we get all our videos and rendering. And I did the hardware in the last episode or in the last video. Now we're going to talk about all the software that I use to do the capture and editing and then ultimately uploading to YouTube. So first off, first thing we got is we talked about the Elgato hardware. It comes with a piece of software here. As you can see, this is the software that comes with it. This is what you've got the USB cable that runs to your PC. This is the software that then actually does the capturing. You potentially could use third-party things to capture. XSplit is a good example. I believe Open Broadcaster and things like that. It's basically just an input source on your PC. So anything that can read that input source could actually capture the video. But you're going to probably find that this is the easiest way to do it. Just use the software that came with it. So I'm going to go over a couple things here. First off, let's look at our overall settings here and show you what I use. I have flashback recording enabled, and what that is you can actually, it's like DVR capabilities for your recording. Let's say you're not actually doing any recording and you had a moment or something that happened. I have this capability right here where I can just back it up, and you can see I can go all the way back to what I was working on almost 30 minutes ago. So I can say if I want to snap capture something and say, you can see where I was there. I was looking at some stuff. Let's say I want to go back and had something happen. I want to record this last race. I wasn't recording, I was just driving, but I usually have my recording software up all the time just for this purpose. Say, oh man, that was a pretty good race. I really want to capture that. I could just back it up to right here, hit the capture button, and it's going to capture from that point to where I'm currently at. So it's a pretty cool feature. If your PC isn't quite upgraded, and it can cause performance issues because it's constantly actually recording. So think about that. I like the flashback recording. I use it. I wasn't using it on my previous PC because I was having a few performance issues, and I was having some disk space issues, all kinds of different stuff. But I use it. I love that feature. It's a great feature. You're playing any game, you'd say, "Oh man, I wish I would have my recording. Wish I would have been recording there." Well, you are recording essentially all the time as long as you have the software up and going. So that's that setting, and it's really good to have and really good to use. Record live commentary and separate audio check. I'll cover that in a second, but I always have that check. But there's actually more that you have to do to actually get that split out. This by itself won't do it. I don't stream to Twitch out of here, but you can. And so I'm not going to really go over that part. But this does have the capability to stream out to Twitch. The newest updates and things also have the ability to put your picture in there and do all those things. So certainly possible to use this. You can use that also on the Xbox, different things. It has native streaming. Maybe I like to do third party. I actually use XSplit Broadcaster to do streaming out to Twitch, just because it gives you some more flexibility on overlays and different things that you can do. So I don't stream that often anyway, so not something I look at. Sharing in here, there's just all the ways. I don't use any of this stuff here. It's not really, I'm not looking to have it automatically upload to YouTube or do any of that. You can, right? If you didn't have editing software and didn't want to do any editing, technically you could you can upload straight to YouTube from here. You kind of connect your YouTube account and just upload it. I would recommend that you do some editing of it ahead of time and you don't do that. So I do this. This will convert it out to kind of an MP4 source, give you kind of that raw, sort of raw. There actually is another format that it puts it out in true raw, but it'll take that raw video that it records, put it into an MP4 format, which is a pretty universal thing that you can either upload directly to YouTube or do your editing on ahead of time, like I like to do. And then this is the other area. So if you wanted to, I just started playing with this because this is actually a new feature inside of the software here, and that is to export my live. So you have to do it over here. First, I have to say record live commentary in a separate audio track. And then in your sharing settings, you have to tell it to export that to a separate file. And what that'll do is create an MTS file that's separate. Now, that's great, and it'll have your audio in it. But if you don't mute your live commentary in your exported video, your video file that has the game audio will also have your commentary in it, and then you'll have double recorded there. So you got to be careful with that as well. If you want to do it, these are the settings you need. What this will do is give you a separate file that then you can bring both of them into your editing software. And what's great about that, and it's probably something I'm going to start using, I just haven't yet, is you can adjust your your commentary volume separate from your game audio. Otherwise, and I'll show you this in a little bit, otherwise when you bring it into your software, it's all one thing, and you only have one audio file that contains both your game and your voice, so you can't adjust them separately. So I'm going to start doing that separately because of that, but I'm not going to do that yet, so I need a little bit more time. I just started working on that since it's new in the newer version. And then updates, just you're automatically checking for updates. So that's all the settings I have in that part. The next area of settings you're going to have is right here. That was not the one I wanted to, right? So it's right here. So you're going to come in here and you got some other settings in here. This is going to talk about the really how do I want to say it? Allow for 6 second recording. Anyway, this is going to control really your settings on your performance. First thing you're going to do is select your input device, what you're doing here, where your input from. In my case, it's the Xbox One. This is going to make sure that you can set it up that way. It already knows what my input is. I use just a standard HDMI color range. I want to bring it in 1080. This you can go different ways. I use it right in the middle, and it's really to control some of the file sizes. If you go too far this way, my PC will handle it. Now some PCs won't. I don't notice hardly any difference in the quality, but the files are a lot bigger, and it takes a lot longer for me to be able to render it. So I leave it here. You could bump it up. I used to run it a little higher, but I kind of bumped it down, played around to get it into a point where the quality was still really good, but the file sizes were manageable and my rendering times are manageable. So that's all the settings in here. I don't really do anything changing in here. I don't mess with my audio gain. You could create a profile here if you wanted to that was different, and then there's this TV compatibility. I haven't ever messed with this. I'm not even really sure what that does, but I don't play with that. So right here you can see what we're going at right now, 8.3 gig an hour. You can, I believe if I change that, it's going to there you go. Now I'm at 11.2 gig per hour. So you can see as you adjust that. So I'm going to bring it back down to what I have it at, 8.3, so somewhere probably about right here. 8.6, that's close enough. Not that big a deal. So I'm going to cancel out of it anyway so I don't change my settings. So that's kind of the basic settings and the setup that I have in there. The next part that we have is you want to balance out your game audio and your commentary. Now, by default, when you start it, it's going to be like this. It's not going to be recording my voice. You see this live commentary here. See nothing happening in the level here. In order to get your voice, you need to click this commentary button. Now you can see when I'm ready to capture, it's going to capture my voice in here. So I don't use this automatically reduce game sound. You may have heard a video or two where, like, when my voice got loud, the background got quieter. That's what that does. It automatically turns down the game volume every time you talk. I don't like the way that sounds. I'd rather just balance this out. And you have to do this by feel. You know, record a little bit, play the game you're going to play, record it, see how it feels in there. I, generally speaking, have to bump my game audio down and my microphone audio up. This is going to depend on how close your microphone is to you, the type of microphone you have, what you have set for your gain, if you have gain levels on your microphone itself. So there's a lot of different things that this can depend on. This is my live streaming area. I'm not really doing with it. All I've done is played around with it and connected it to my Twitch account, but I haven't really used that. So there's those areas there, and there really isn't any other setting. Oh, down here, this is where a little preview my next video. Or maybe this video is probably already out by the time, I don't know what order I'm doing them in. But anyway, I put a little something in here. I like to put the game in there, a little quick description, so that when it does write it out, I can see what I'm doing. So what I'm going to do here is we'll take a quick capture, just a quick 1 minute or so, or 30 seconds, and show you the process that I do in here. So we're going to record this, pick everything up, and then stop it, and then show you where the video goes, and then we'll move on to the next spot, which is the part where we're going to bring it in, do our editing, render it out so that we can upload it to YouTube. So let's do that real quick here. My headset turned off so I can hear, and then I'm going to hit the capture button here. So we're going to do our, hey guys, Moneyman 300, all that good stuff, because we're recording now in here. You can see it doing the recording, and I'm going to resume this. Do a little R-Class racing here. So we can see we got all this going on. I want to get just enough video. Those guys are, why am I so slow? Ooh, look out. Try not, oh, that guy just pitted me. Can't be doing that. push my way right through there. So anyway, so you get your recording, you get all done here. I'm gonna stop that right there. Come over here. We're gonna stop that. I had that still going there. So what it's gonna do, it's gonna write it out. You'll see this green bar go all the way across here. It usually take longer than that based on the video. It's gonna get all the way here. When it's done, it's finished. Once we've done that, we'll come over here and I'll show you where the raw video. It's gonna, by default, it goes to your videos area. So I'm gonna hit F5, refresh that, and I didn't change the name of it. So this is the one we just popped up here. A lot of times, what I'll do here is just, we'll open this up and then make sure I'm gonna hit the capture button here.
Sounds okay.
So we're gonna get into our hey guys, Moneyman 300, all that good stuff, because we're recording now in here. Hey, you probably noticed that the video and the voice was like I just pitted me. So yeah, so you go through, just make sure it's cleaned up. You can see the production value looks pretty good, and everything else. I was trying not to talk and then have my voice there in the background twice there. Anyway, so that's that. So now I've got this file here. I should have renamed that something else, but whatever. Didn't even follow my own advice. So that's everything we need to do in here. So we're pretty much done with this part. So we'll minimize this, get this out of the way. I wanted to show you something else. There's a folder in your videos. It's going to be called ECG Library. This is going to have the actual recording. So you can see 1251. This looks like the one I just did. So I'm going to go in here, and you're going to have this file here is the actual raw file. So if you wanted to, for whatever reason, pull this into your recording. Now this is not going to have, even when you split out your audio and your video, this isn't going to split out your audio for you. This is going to have everything in one file. So I generally don't use that. I like to use the MP4 that it outputs here. So this is what I consider to be my raw footage. So the software then that I use to do the editing and the rendering to get it ready to upload is this here. This is Sony Movie Studio Platinum. I happen to be on version 12. I think there's a version 13 out now. This is basically, if you've heard of Sony Vegas, this is basically Sony Vegas Lite. So it runs, I believe, anywhere from $60 to $90, depending on the sale that you get and things like that, or what version. I get the Platinum version. I think you can get by with the Gold version as well. So that get you in a little bit cheaper. Get software, however you software. There's different. You could actually use, and I didn't show you guys this, but you could technically use this to do some editing. It's super basic. Like I don't even know how to do like fade in and fade out, and I can't add an intro and all that stuff. So it's really basic editing that you can do. It comes with its own editing software, so basic. If you're using a Mac, iMovie is probably what you would want to use, and I've heard of people using that. So, but on the PC, by far and away, Sony Vegas, Sony Movie Studio is what almost everybody uses, or most people use to do their video editing. Sony Vegas is a much larger, has a lot more bells and whistles, costs significantly more, in the $400 to $600 range. Not something I was going to buy, but if you're a student, different things like that, students can get that like almost free from the university and things like that. So it is possible to be able to, as a student, get these things much cheaper. But anyway, the process, even if using Sony Vegas, is real similar. I don't know what I got going on here. Anyway, usually it opens up to right here. So a couple of things I want to go over here. And one of the things, I'm going to go into this project and properties. And there is this HD right here, this setting right here that pretty much use always to start with. There's a couple different ways you can do this, and some people say not to do this, but just to get yourself a start, is you can match. So what I want to do is get my project properties the way that I want it to come out and matching the video that I'm using. So if I'm 30 frames per second, I want to make sure that I set this to 30 frames per second. So I come in here, I can also do this. So let's say I just want to match it to that video I just did. It's not going to change anything in here. It should have. So I did come up with a custom, which is basically the same thing. So it's going to be, I think if you look at custom, you look at 1080, it's the same thing. So it's this basically 1920 by 1080, 29 FPS. So that's what we want. That's what we're getting. So whether it's custom or whether it's the other, doesn't really matter. But we get in here, see all that, 30 frames per second. This is 30 frames, 29.970. This is one that this will be on like good, I believe, is what it normally is. You want to change this to best. That makes actually a pretty big difference, and it takes just a slightly longer to to render out, but you want to change this. The other thing is you want to do, come down here and say start all new projects with this setting and hit apply. This way, every time from here on out, because you really don't need to change these things once you get it set, every time from here on out, you're going to get every project started with this. So I don't mess with my audio. I don't mess with this stuff here, any of this. So this is just kind of where it saves things out to. If you want to save it out to somewhere else, you can change it there. But anyway, that's what we do there. So the other thing I do is I create a template that has, so this is the default, has these things in here. I like to have a template that's already got my, now I'm going to pull that up, that already has my, right there. I don't want to change those. So I have a template. It's already all set up. It's already got my project property settings and everything in here that I like to have. So I was curious, just looking at something else there. So I actually want that to be progressive scheme. I wondered what, I've been having some quality issues. It's been taking me a while to get everything set back up. So I want that. I'm going to just change that real quick. Hit that and apply. I want that to be progressive scan right there. Otherwise it's 1080i instead of 1080p. Little tip there. Glad I noticed that. Anyway, so I have a template here that has, it's got my, whoops. If I click into here, as you can see, it's got my Moneyman 300 intro already in it. I also added, I've got my game video, game audio. I have a commentary section here. So I've got some extra sections that, so when I pop these things in here, it's ready to go. And if I want to add some additional commentary, I can just record it, and I already got an area all set up to do that. So, so what we're going to do here is, oh, it shows that webcam and all that stuff. There we go. So this is our one that we made earlier. You can see there the timing on it and the size, about that big. So what you do is you come in here, and you may be in here, but you go to your Explorer here. You find your video you want. Just double click on it. It's going to pop it in there. One thing you want to make sure is you highlight your game video. Now you can see everything's pulled in here the way that I want it. There's one important setting I want to show you guys in here. And if you don't do this, you get kind of a ghosting effect after you render this out. You want to right click on your video stream here. You want to go to switches and you want to say disable resample. You don't want the smart resample. You don't want it resampling at all. So you disable your resample, and that's going to fix a ghosting issue that you'll see in there. You want to do that for any game video you're editing. You don't need to do that so much for video camera editing and those things, but you need to do that for game video and audio. So we've got that. Now there's a couple things that I usually like to add in here, so I'm going to zoom that. Oh, that's probably a little too much. I'm going to zoom that in a little bit. I like to have my fade in here. I like to get 2 seconds in the beginning, 2 seconds in the end. Also, what I'll do is if I started the video a little early, you want to come in here. Maybe I need to trim the start of it up a little bit to get some dead air out. Same thing in the end. I might trim this back, get some dead air out there. You could do different transitions. I can come in here and let's say sometimes I have something like this where I want to cut out maybe I had a map loading right here and I want to cut that part out. So I'll split that audio out here. I'll come over here, split this one out here, delete that piece out, push this together, and I might even, if you overlay it, you might even merge it in with the other one where it kind of shows both at the same time. A nice little transition you can do in there. There's a lot of different things that you can do and you can play around with. People also do this video, they do some things in here to try to clean things up a little bit. I haven't messed with that. There's lots of tutorials on the internet on how to do that on YouTube. So, but now I'm pretty much done with this. I've got this in here. I've got my, I usually like to double check my transition. So we'll play that. Listen to that. And then I'm going to hit the capture button here. So we're going to get into our, so, I don't know if I like it. Transition sounded good. Everything's all good here. We'll go out here, project, save as, and we'll just call this test. If you don't, make sure you do a save as and not save, otherwise you'll overwrite your template file. So I got it saved out there. Now I want to render it. So the last piece, got everything ready to go, got the video ready here, and I'm going to basically click at the beginning and drag all the way out, grab all of my video, I go up to project, and I say render as. And it's going to pull up some rendering templates here. I haven't, so this is all, there's a lot of rendering templates, a ton. As you can see here, you got Sony templates. I've got, there's a couple of different that I've used and that I've been playing around with. So if I just show, let me just show my favorites. There's main concept, which is pretty popular, and then there's some Sony ones out here as well. I use, typically I use this main concept one, and what I'm going to do is show you some settings that are in here that you guys can set up. So I'm going to hit customize template. I start with the internet HD 1080p, and I'm going to hit customize the template here. And there's, I don't remember all the things that I changed, but you guys can kind of look at this to see what we get here. But you know, we're going to have a frame size, that's default on there. Our frame rate again, 30 frames per second. Got these things here. You got the progressive scan for our P setting. This is changed. I believe the default on this might have been 4,000. You want to be at least 10,000 here. And then this one was low as well. So I go 24,000 and 12. I really bumped those up quite a bit. You could even do 2 pass if you wanted more, but that's going to take a lot more. Also, if you have a good video card, right here it'll say render using OpenCL if available. So I've got that there, and the way I know if I've got that available or not, also let me point this out. CUDA and OpenCL are two different video offloading technologies which allow you to offload some of your rendering to your video card. CUDA is NVIDIA, OpenCL is ATI. So just so you know that if you are doing that. If you don't have a video card that can handle that, then you want to render using CPU only. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to look over here in system. I got this little deal here that says check GPU, comes up, OpenCL is available. So I'm going to want to use the OpenCL on that. Looks good. Going to say okay. I was going to look at this template real quick because it says, yeah. I don't remember which one. One of these does not, absolutely does not. Oh, it's this main concept one here. This one for me does not work. For some people it does. If I hit render here, just straight up errors out. So I can't, for whatever reason, and I've been researching it, I haven't fixed it yet, but I haven't been able to use that. I can use the standard template and it uses GPU only, or I can change this to GPU only and it works. Now, there's some different settings in the Sony one. I basically set most of the things the same, although they're not all the same type because main concept is a different codec. So you have some different settings in the Sony one. Again, the bit rates that I use, 10. You want at least 10,000. I could probably bump that up to 15,000. And this one just says CPU or use GPU if available. This one works for me, so it's the one I pick. Again, it is a extension of the Sony main concept one here. So if I do, let me show you guys how to make this one real quick. I screwed up by talking about the main concept one first, because if you have the same issue I have, you're going to want to create this Sony template. So let me take the favorites off of there. Let me get into the Sony area. I started with a like QVGA memory. So I started with one of these memory stick ones up here. Let me see which one I picked. So is this a copy of a memory stick? One of these. It doesn't really matter which one. Just pick one of these memory stick. You can do baseline 896. That's fine. You're going to change a lot of the settings anyway. So you're going to go in there, and this is my. Let me get show my favorites back. Okay. So I created one 1080 GPU. Actually, I have a couple of them as I play around with them, but we'll get customized template in here. So you're going to want to change it to high definition. The memory stick probably isn't going to have that, but you bump that up. I put my profile on high. All this is going to be already set for you. Probably the biggest difference, make sure you're progressive scan and make sure this is at least 10,000. Even go higher if you can. Go up to 15 maybe. And then render using your GPU if you can. Again, check. It's going to tell me that that's all good. I don't change the audio settings. I just go ahead and leave those. And then the rest of it is just default. So let's say I got all that set up. I got my template. So I've already got that there. I'm going to pick it. I usually only show my favorites so they don't all show up. And the next thing we do is we hit render. So it's going to go ahead and it's going to render it out. Shouldn't take too long here. May have to cut out this part of the video, but you can see it's going through, it's rendering. While that's happening, we're going to flip over here to YouTube. So I can see I got my XSplit. I was messing around with that earlier. So we're going to go over to YouTube, and I'm going to show you the last piece, which is the upload to YouTube. So you're going to be logged in with your account, all that good stuff. Looks like I got some new comments there. And I'm going to hit upload. I'm going to go out here, and I'm going to select a file to upload. And I'm just going to pick something for now. I'm not going to because I'm just going to cancel it when I'm done. But this one got about 30% left, so it's going to go through and it's going to end up creating an MP4 file that's going to look like this. It's going to be this test MP4. That's what I would normally upload. It's not done, and I don't want to. I got to sit here and wait for that to completely be done. So we'll just we'll grab one here. I would start uploading that, but I'm not quite ready for that one yet. So let's just grab this real quick. So there you go. We're gonna upload. It's gonna start uploading. A couple of things you can do in here. A lot of them I like to just bring it in as either scheduled or private, so I can get it uploaded, get everything in there, make sure it looks okay before I release it to the public. So a lot of times I'll switch this to private or even scheduled to schedule it for the next day. You may upload 3 or 4 and schedule them day over day, and then put all your stuff in. Put my comments in there. Now I have a template in here, which you can do in YouTube. There's an area you can go in there and set so that every video starts with the same stuff. So my Twitter stuff, some partner information, things like that are always there. Some tags that are pretty much I always leave there, and then I have a set of tags. Then I actually have a notepad file that I use for several notepad files that I use. So like if this is a Forza 5 video, I have a set of tags that I use for that. So I would come in here, I would paste in all my tags, maybe pick a couple suggested tags. Do the best you can in here. You want to get as much information as you can. If it's a playlist, if it's a Forza 5 tune, you don't want to throw that into that playlist automatically for us. All those things. When you're done, hit your save changes, and you're off and rolling. Now there's other things around monetization and different stuff like that you got to get into the partner stuff and do differently. But that's just the overview. That's going to upload it, and I'm actually going to cancel that upload. Cancel. And that takes us through pretty much everything that we've got here. Trying to think if I missed anything. There you go. That's all done now. So we'd be done there. Close that up. Now we can upload that up to YouTube, and we're rolling. So that's the process I use to get at least a console game all the way up through YouTube. I do it a little bit different with the PC. I'm actually using XSplit Broadcast, which maybe I'll go over some other day. And that's how I get other videos like this one that I'm doing right now is actually being recorded with XSplit Broadcaster. So that's going to end it for this one. Hopefully you guys got some good information out of that. Leave any comments or questions down in the comments below, and I'll do my best to answer them for you guys. Hopefully I covered everything there. And we're going to end it with that. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Later.